have you lost relationships since you've embraced this new religion? Has it been very disruptive to you socially?
Um, People have distanced themselves. I would say that. I talk about it nonstop. So when we started the church, we I added all my Facebook friends into it. My wife added all of her Facebook friends into it, and our neighbors happen to be those people. So um, for them, they eventually left, but I think it was they I don't even know if they eventually even understood it, if that makes sense. Like,
Hmm.
and I don't think they understood that basically we're the same people that we were before. It's just now I wear this pirate hat. And we fly a pirate flag also, but yeah, that's about it. But yeah, I did. They got a little weird for a little bit, but I think they're back on.
It's cooling down a little bit.
Yeah,
They accept it.
yeah, they're cool again. Yeah.
Have you had a chance yet to wear a colander in any official photos of any driver's licenses or anything like that?
No, my driver's license doesn't expire until March.
Oh.
So I'm planning on doing it, but my state, from what I understand, has a law that says that you cannot wear any religious headgear.
Oh.
Uh, so I'm going to, and that's with very little research, but from what I understand, so what I'm going to do is, if that is true, is I'm going to call around to all the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and see if I can sweet talk a manager into let me take the picture. Um, in Ohio, we just changed our rule too, where now your driver's license gets mailed out to you. So I don't know if somebody actually reviews them,
Hmm.
there, or it's just auto print and mail. So I don't know if there's like a second set of eyes that you have to overcome seeing it. I found it very interesting that when I joined up, like I didn't really expect to be like just everybody was on the internet. You know what I mean? Like I expected there to be, yeah, and I've honestly felt a little bit like attacked for trying to get a physical church.
Hmm.
So I think that's kind of weird too.
From Pastafarians as well, do you find much pushback from Pastafarians in trying to bring reality to this idea?
Leadership, yes.
Hmm.
So the main Facebook church group, quite a few admins, I don't think feel very highly of me.
Hmm.
Uh, um, but I did just connect with one today, who's in the smaller group. It has 47,000 members compared to the other one that has 65.
Hmm.
But he is open to the idea, of a pirate ship church tourist attraction to compete with the Ark next to on the Ohio River. So that's pretty cool. If it gives me hope that we will actually possibly make it happen. If you think about it, how many there's at least 5 churches within a mile from my home.
Yeah.
Uh, I there's probably more than that. There's probably closer to 10, to be honest with you. Um, and what does each one of those church cost? And most of them have or Catholic school, have an elementary school attached to them.
Yes.
So I mean, what do those buildings cost? For less for $1 million, we could. That's 1% of the budget of the Art Creation Museum, and we could have a church for 5 years.
Right.
Pretty sure I could keep it afloat with drinks, food sales and souvenirs and private events, weddings, things like that would keep it afloat.
What do you think the important values of Pastafarianism are?
Uh, really for me, it's just family. It's morals, values, and critical thinking, and it's I want to network. That's my one of my big things is I could go to any of the churches around me and go in there and network, and I could be really successful is the way I see it, and not have to spend any money on advertising. But I don't want to give up all my beliefs and all that for going in there and selling that stuff to my kids as facts.
Hmm.
So that's where I really like the gospel is, you can teach them morals, values, and critical. That's what I call the critical thinking part. Is the part where they realize like, oh, hey, it says this could all be bullshit. It's not all fact. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to sell them, the Bible as fact and, make them. So, I've a family member that went to Catholic school told us that she used to go home and pray for all of her friends because they were going to go to hell. And that's what they were told to do is go pray for their friends. And she was like, it made me feel so bad, and but she's like, I went home and I prayed for all my friends, and she's like, now I look back at that and she's like, it's awful, but and that's the way I see it. Is I don't want to throw that stuff into my kids, and with this I don't even throw it at them. All they can tell you right now is the flying spaghetti monster. Like they can point at a picture and tell you that's the flying spaghetti monster, and that's it. They don't know what God is or anything like that. They Bob's book that the I haven't read him the Captain Colander one yet. I still need to put that out, but his first one, it's the story of creation basically and a moral code.
Hmm.
And I read him that one, and they can it's got a bunch of cool characters on it and stuff. It's basically Bob just we were talking about kids books, and Bob wrote a book and sent it to me, and I was like, yeah, that's really cool. And what was funny is when we did this group, like we created the unofficial Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster green card group.
Cards and yeah.
Yeah. He thought it was a dumb idea. Like he really didn't think anybody was going to use it, and it's grown quite a bit, and people are using the cards. So I think that's pretty cool. Which I thought it was pretty cool. He made all that content, so I was like, well, I'm going to use it. So thanks for that. But
Yeah.
it'd be really cool if other people use it too. And yeah, people are using it, so that's cool. So the plan is I want to buy a pirate ship that's big enough to hold a church service on, big enough for somebody to be able to rent and hold a wedding on. And then the profits from it, I want to use, and this is like kind of the controversial part, but it's really not that controversial in my opinion because it's the founding documents was I want to change the original pledge of. I want to go back to the original Pledge of Allegiance.
Mm.
I want to take God off of all of our state seals and federal and state, and I would like to see or go back to our original motto on money. So I know you're aware of this. I've seen your videos. 1956, we changed the laws, and this is my understanding so far, is we could raise money as a church, and then we're not allowed to directly use that money to influence legislation. But what you are allowed to do is give that money away to groups that do that on their own.
Oh, I see.
Groups. And a lot of times the church that owns that other group, it's just a whole nother, it's just a whole nother company, but
Right.
they own it because they give all the money to it. So yeah, that's my idea is we could do the same thing. And I think most people that identify as atheist and even a lot of agnostic, they would, once they understand, that's a big thing is a lot of people, when I started talking about this, they got real upset and they're like, you're trying to change our history, and it's like, no, it was already changed, and it's just trying to go back to the original. That makes a little bit more sense.
Right. We're trying to get back.
That's one thing at my kids' school is they do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm usually walking out the door right as it's getting ready to start, dropping them off, and I've thought about asking the school, hey, when it's my kid's turn to do the announcement and they want to give the original Pledge of Allegiance, will there be a big stick about that, or will you guys let it happen? You know what I mean? And see what the thoughts are there. I see the pirate ship like kind of operating almost like a restaurant bar, tourist, trap kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like it to be set up to where it's free for people to walk on. They'll never have to pay. Paying for parking will keep it afloat and all that. drinks, souvenirs, food, all that stuff. But always free to walk on and pure service kind of thing. And I see it more of a show, not like a
A show?
yeah, exactly. The tourist attraction, show
Uh-huh,
of
yes. Do,
not like a not your boring traditional church where you go in and you know what I mean. You're
but
wearing
will
your
you
best.
have weekly sermons or something like this?
Yeah, so Friday, that would be the thing. Friday's the holy day, so
Yes.
hopefully people will come in Friday evening and
After
you know
work?
exactly. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then do figure out a way to do weddings and have people rent it out for weddings. I see that being a big thing. Because how cool would it be for atheists and agnostic that don't they really the atheists I guess I would say is having a new wedding for them
Hmm.
basically. When me and my wife got married, we actually auctioned off our well, not auctioned off, but we raffled it off. Everybody got a ticket coming in through the door, and then I called out like five numbers on each side, and we gave them all a bridesmaid shirt and a groomsman shirt.
Ah,
Uh, but we didn't have a traditional wedding. Our parents wanted us to have a traditional wedding. We didn't, um, and they had the budget for it. They spent 10 grand on our wedding, and we were like, well, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it our way and have some fun. So basically, the money was spent on an open bar wedding. But our service was my aunt. She was the only one that didn't know. Well, she was planned, so we acted like we called her number. But she was planned, but she had no idea.
does she know? Should we got to cut this out? We've got to cut this all out.
Oh no, 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 she knows all that,
Oh,
but
phew.
yeah, so we called her number and she was our like minister, and then we called numbers for the groomsmen, bridesmen, and it was interesting because I had people in my bridal party that I had no idea who they were because they were my parents' friends.
Uh,
So
that's lovely. That's a lovely sentiment.
yeah,
And
but if somebody told me I could have had a wedding on a pirate ship and made everybody dress like pirates, I would have been like, oh yeah, let's do that.
so, have you had any approaches yet to solemnize a marriage with your authorities?
I have not. I have not. So Cincinnati, we have like this bridal district, so to speak,
Hmm.
where there's like 10 or 15 bridal stores in a row. So I've thought about going down there on like a Friday or Saturday and just walk around and
Just
you know,
give
make
out
myself
some cards.
full. Yeah.
I'm sure it will work. Your hat there says Pastafarian Minestrone. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I got this embroidered. Oh, there it
That is lovely.
is.
Oh, great! I hadn't seen the back before. That is awesome.
Yeah, $30. The hat was five, but the embroidery job was like 30 something bucks.
Well, three sides, I suppose. That's why.
So the main church they allow the Pasta Foundation to post content. And I asked one of the admins about that. I said, hey, is the Pasta Foundation equally as hated as I am? And I was like, I feel like you guys don't like me, and you say it's I'm in people's faces in a way is what I guess, but that's what the Pasta Foundation is. It's the they go out to parades and enter floats and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's the same thing. I mean, maybe they're not so in your face with a float, but it is what it is. It's the same thing. It's just so I just can't stand the uh, the admins telling people how to be a pastafarian. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
now you're starting to sound like any other religion, and sometimes I notice they're putting a little bit of a Scientology feel on it. You know what I mean?
It is, and that is one of the ideas is how quickly religion can become dogmatic, um, even with the dogma, no dogma. Like even with all the things in place to keep Pastafarianism from turning into sort of a control group that says groupthink is the best way to be, it seems to have happened, or
and, and this is the thing with Bobby Henderson, is I say is. you know, I I think Bobby Henderson so far has done a great thing. I really respect him for not becoming the next Ron L. Hubbard.
Hmm.
I really think that's what you know Pastafarianism could be if it didn't all go. This is my guess is all that power and money went to Ron L. Hubbard's head, and he would have been Pastafarianism, but
Yes.
it all to his head, and he sold it as fact at the end.
Right, and so yeah, so we've got to keep an eye on that and study those old crazy prophets to not like turn into a Muhammad or Joseph Smith. We definitely don't want to be end up in jail.
So yeah, and that's where I say, if you ever hear me say, I don't give a fuck about Bobby Henderson, the context of that is I don't need Bobby Henderson to tell me what to do. You know what I mean? To
Yes,
know right or wrong, or if Bobby Henderson tells me to jump off the bridge or drink the Kool Aid,
right.
not endorsing that. But I really
Yeah,
like the gospel. But yeah, other than that, like like
yeah.
I said, I respect him for not becoming Ron L. Hubbard, and I hope he never does.
So Kenham is right across the river from you, to the south, right? And that's Kentucky. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So if anybody ever knows his, I imagine he's got to have a home that's right next to York, because how would you not build a house right next to your $100 million
Hmm.
ark? So I would assume he's got to live pretty close to it.
If you were to
So
talk to him, what would you talk to him about? What would you say to Kenham if you were here?
I really just like to go knock on his door and bug him, like like a Jehovah Witness or a Mormon does.
Really looking forward to the pirate ship.
The one that I'm looking at now, it's been for sale for 2 years.
So are you thinking about a GoFundMe maybe for that or Kickstarter?
Yeah, so that's the thing. I talked to Justin Whitesides the other day, and he's got the 47,000 member group. So that gives me hope that 47,000 divided by I figured if I was going to go for a pirate ship, I was going to look for about $1 million, which I think would be a cool thing to say because I always hear that the arc was $100 million, so I can say 1% of the arc is what it
Yes.
started.
And there is
And
that I'd rather you didn't that it has to be under 2 million, right? He doesn't want
well,
multi-million dollar churches.
that and does it actually use the word church, or is it just temple shrines mosque?
I
And it doesn't say anything about pirate ship.
Right. Good
And,
point. Very
and
good
then
point.
and then what would a pirate do? What does every pirate need? A pirate ship.
That's I never thought of it, but obviously that is what he was saying.
This is what I'm really looking for next. Is I'm looking for a connection of somebody who wants to do some lawyer work.
Hmm.
As far as I want to go into. I don't really understand all the paperwork and all that. Like I tagged you in that lady's post today about, she has that paperwork that says that her donations are tax exempt.
Right, and then it talked about some other number. It gave another number, some sort of idea, and so that is a very important idea to achieve that.
Yeah, so I want to find somebody a lawyer that can explain all that paperwork to me and what because as far as I understand, I'm a church now,
Hmm.
technically by paperwork, but I really don't know. So I really like to make sure I am, and
Right.
whole goal is to be, equal as status and all that.
Right, to really play the game, to really understand what is involved and how we can participate, because the atheists are removed from the conversation, the religious conversation, and so fine. But what about us Pastafarians? We want to share at the table. We want to participate in this idea.
Yeah, so that's my other thing too is I want to get if I do raise enough money to buy a pirate ship, I'm definitely gonna buy it tax free.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna get the 1023 tax form. Um, if I figure right now, if I did raise enough money and the taxes to pay a lawyer to fill out the 1023 for me would be cheaper than paying the taxes on the pirate ship, so it makes sense
Hmm.
uh, to be able to do it. But right now, I don't know what exactly I can do with the 1023 tax exempt card. as a church organization, like what the rules and all that are to it. So I'd like somebody who has all that knowledge to explain it to me. And because I'd really like to know if I can go to like Walmart or to like a car dealership. Could you imagine if somebody was buying a car and I
Hmm.
could save 7% on a car?
Right.
You know what I mean? That would be huge.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a cool thing to do to people is, just hand out the card and send it out into the world, and you know what I mean. Let people make tax-free purchases. But I have no idea what the rules are on it and if it can be done. And you know what I mean. Like if I get so many purchases a year, or I have no idea. So that's what
Right.
I find out as somebody who knows all that information and can explain it. For example, the WBN fireworks event. My friend, my friend had the rowboat, so he has a 37-acre farm, and he's got like a big little, a lake on it. So that's what he has a rowboat for. So it never goes out on public waterways or anything like that, and so it needed to be licensed. So
Hmm.
I licensed it, and then we went to Bass Pro Shops and I bought all the safety gear so that way I didn't get a ticket.
Hmm.
So Bass Pro Shops in a lot of ways really sponsored our event because when I their 30-day no questions asked return policy to return all the safety gear and the motor and the battery.
Well, that was
So
very
they,
kind of them. So
yeah,
everyone in the comments, please do patronize them when,
yeah,
out
thanks
of
Bass Pro
thanks.
Shop.
Yes.
Yeah, and I did recharge the battery before I sent it back. I didn't send it back dead. So
Yes, that's very
don't,
kind. Very
don't
kind.
hate me for that. But yeah, that's my whole plan with our church is to try and make things happen as cheaply as possible, and do cool things. Like right now, I'm trying to get parents together to do like you see the memes every once in a while for the MIT pirate certificate where
Hmm.
they take an archery class, fencing class, and pistol shooting and something else, and they get
Hmm.
a certificate. Sailing. So I'd like to find a way to make all those things into a kids event and have something that's like 2 or 3 hours long, and at the end all the kids get a pirate certificate. Yeah, just like a one-time thing, and
Yeah.
really I do it to see if I get any pushback from distributing propaganda into the school.
Uh-huh.
That's I want to do a community building thing and actually see if I can get people to come together as a church and do things, church things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Church is a very large part of a lot of Americans' lives. A lot of Americans' lives. It's always surprising. And so, yeah, Pastafarianism can take a little bit more than it has. And the people being like, we don't push our religion on other people is like, then you don't get what religion is. Like that's what religion is. But
it amazes me too is the people that say that to me that not that about Pastafarianism, but like they'll be like, oh, don't push religion on the people, and they don't even realize like how much they push religion themselves. You know what
mm.
I mean?
Thank you very much, Captain Moser, for joining us today, and
Yeah,
thank you for your efforts and your work. And you're doing this all with a full-time job, which has got to be very time-consuming. And your work is appreciated, and we look forward to more.
thank you, thank you. Well, I don't really feel like I've done too much yet, but spent $100 on some paperwork, so hopefully we'll do something cool here in a little bit.